Alright, so unfortunately, the age limit to who can watch this content is no longer 13 and up. Yeah, it is now 18 and up. So I'm gonna be working on a new intro, obviously, but I do not have the time today. It'll probably be in the next one though. So yeah, have a good day. And unless you're 18 or older, go the fuck away. Alright, so Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla was absolutely stellar. How the hell are they gonna top that? Oh. Oh. Well, at least the villain is cool. Alright, ladies and gents, I'm flying solo today on Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Actually, this is kind of fitting now I think about it, because, yeah, this film was actually, what sort of inspired the name for my channel, Gfanatic 94, since this film came out in 1994. And the reason why it was the inspiration behind my channel, unfortunately, is not because the movie's very good. Straight up, this movie is not very good, but it is the debut of what is, in my opinion, the single greatest and most badass villain in the Godzilla franchise. Space Godzilla. Mother of God, this dude sells the whole movie for me. But yeah, Space Godzilla is the main reason why I even like this movie. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the background, and then I'll explain exactly why I don't like this movie. And actually, recently I've discovered quite a few more reasons not to like this movie. However, those reasons are also why I hate Gamera now. But let's get into the cast. First of all, the returning actress Megumi Odaka as Miki Sagusa. We got Jun Hashizumi as LT Koji Shinjo. We have Zenkichi Yoneyama as LT Kiyoshi Sato. Akira Imoto as Major Akira Yuki. We have Towako Yoshikawa as Professor Shinatsu Gondo. Okay. Yes, again, I am horrible at pronouncing Japanese names, but sorry. Yosuke Saito as Dr. Susumu Okubo. Kenji Sahara as Minister Takayuki Segawa. We have Akira Nakao as Commander Takaki Aso. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna pronounce the first thing that comes to mind. Koichi Ueda as General Hyodo. Sayako Osawa as Kaiko Amamura as... Oh, yeah. Sayako Osawa and Kaiko Amamura as the Cosmos. I think those are the same ones from Godzilla vs. Mothra, The Battle for Earth. And then we have Roland Hoare as Professor Alexander Mamilov. We also have Tom Dern as Yakuza boss McKay. And then we have the monster actors. We have Kinpachiro Satsuma as Godzilla, Little Frankie as Little Godzilla, Ryo Haratani as Space Godzilla, and Wataru Fukuda as Mogira. I am terribly sorry if that ended up coming out very badly, because, once again, I cannot pronounce Japanese names that well. And we have Kensho Yamashita as the director. or, well, yeah, the director is Kensho Yamashita. He doesn't play anyone in the film, though. And, yeah. Let's get into one of the main problems I have with this film. This film is the reason why another film, did not happen. You see, back in 1994, there was a Godzilla movie planned to be filmed, I think, and definitely released in, the United States. And what that was going to be was basically a film that featured Godzilla, obviously, and a kick-ass design for him. I mean, this just looks amazing. And it would have also featured another monster for him to fight called the Griffin, even though it looks nothing like an actual Griffin. Long story short, Toho didn't really want them to do that because, well, they wanted to hold off on the project for a little bit because they wanted to finish the Heisei series and didn't want to have competition. Which, by the way, fuck you, Toho. That was a dick move. And yeah, they ended up pushing it back too much until plans for that movie finally got canceled. And instead, we got this movie instead in place. And this one's not even really that good. Oh boy. Just because the film's not good, however, does not mean that Yuji Sakai was slacking. Oh my god, dude. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yuji Sakai, you are a goddamn legend. So yeah, with all that out the way, it is now time to talk about the film. And seeing as how Noah's not here, I'm pretty much just gonna go ahead and talk about the humans first and then the monsters. But first of all, the basic rundown of the film. So, after many attempts to kill Godzilla going awry in previous films, the Japanese government has realized that they cannot kill Godzilla, so instead, they come up with a backup plan called Project T to try and control Godzilla using Miki Sagusa's telepathic abilities. And yeah, they send her and a team of scientists to an island called, I think, Birth Island or maybe Boz Island. Um, and yeah, they send her there to try and experiment upon this. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. However, meanwhile, out in space, well, either A fragment of Violante got sucked into a black hole, or B, some G cells off of Mothra got sucked into a black hole. Either way, Godzilla's DNA, once again, is now a problem for the human race because they couldn't keep their hands off of it. Because these cells were sucked into a black hole in outer space, and then they were pushed out from a white hole after a while, and through the literal explosions of stars happening around it, these cells formed into a brand new monster, an evil, sadistic, devilish kaiju by the name of Space Godzilla. So now, challenge accepted. Godzilla and the Japanese government, with their newly rebuilt Mechagodzilla, who is called Mogira in this film, yeah, they have to basically combine their forces and take down Space Godzilla and rescue Baby Godzilla, because this son of a bitch is apparently into kidnapping kids. Shit! So yeah, that's the basic rundown of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. There is a small, minor, side plot of this dude named Yuki, who is basically trying to get revenge on Godzilla because his brother got killed attacking Godzilla in Godzilla vs. Violante. Which, again, that's some nice, additions to the continuity. However, I wish that was in a different movie because this movie just... Oh, you know what? We might as well just go ahead and talk about it. First of all, starting with the humans. The human side of the story, what really can I say? It's not horribly written, but it just feels lost to me. Like, it's all over the fucking place. First of all, you got these guys trying to mind control Godzilla, while it's at the same time trying to kill him, which, if you're trying to control the brain of the king of the monsters, why would you try to kill him at the same time? That makes absolutely no sense. And, like I said, the Yuki, side plot, which ultimately goes nowhere. And just the human actor, like, they don't seem like they're, like, slacking in their work or anything, but I feel as though the actors, like, when they were given these lines, I feel as though some of them may not have understood the material they were given, but they tried their best anyway, because just the lines and shit that our characters are given and the actions that all of our characters, make in this film, they just don't line up. They feel out of place, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and surprising plot twist, freaking the dude who was trying to help Miki control Godzilla, all of a sudden wants to kidnap her so he can use Godzilla and use Miki to mind control Godzilla and hold the whole country to ransom, which, again, another side plot that goes basically out the window. Um, and yeah, basically everything in this movie exists either to not confuse the audience, but definitely does not make any sense. Everything in this movie either exists to explain why people are trying to mind control Godzilla, or explain why all of a sudden they need to work together with Godzilla. And they don't even properly do that, but ultimately, the human aspect of this film, the best human character in this film is Miki Sagusa. She's the only one that has any real character development or plot progression, which sucks too, because the actor for Yuki, he was doing a great job with the role. Seriously, I hope this man gets better roles in different films, because that man's acting was just a treasure. And, then there's the simple fact that just most of the shit that the humans do in this movie feels completely ineffective, unless we're talking about the minor fucking shit towards the end of the movie where our heroes piloting Mogira accidentally end up blowing off one of, Space Godzilla's crystal spikes. So yeah, it's like, I mean, the human aspect of this film, it's not horrible, but it's certainly not, like, Oscar worthy, and honestly, it just feels out of place. But with that out the way, it is now time to talk about the monsters. And the monster aspect, it is a lot better than the humans, but it's still... oh my god. Okay, so first of all, they rebuilt Mechagodzilla after he was destroyed in the last movie as Mogira. And Mogira, I mean, he looks fine. He looks decent, and he doesn't, like, look ugly or anything. I just really wish they would have just rebuilt Mechagodzilla and left Mogira out of it, though. Because, honestly, I just liked Mechagodzilla better. Maybe they could have taken the opportunity to fix up his face and make Mechagodzilla look 10 times better than he did in the last movie. Which would have been cool, because Mechagodzilla already looked good in the last movie. But effort in this movie is not something that is heavily focused on, so why do that when we can just revive another one of our old monsters that everyone pretty much forgot about, instead of just trying something new with Mechagodzilla. Then there's... I don't even know which one to talk about first, but for simplicity's sake, I'll talk about Little Godzilla. What the actual fuck did they do? Damn it! Oh my god, how did they go from such a cool design for Baby Godzilla, and then all of a sudden they switch to this? Granted, I will give you this. He looks a hell of a lot better than Manila. But, seriously, they couldn't have made him look any better than this? Why the hell does he look like the Pillsbury Doughboy? What is... Oh my god. Why? Why do they have... You know what? Godzilla's son just can't catch a break, can he? Maybe they made this design as a little, like, homage to, the original films, which, I mean, I don't really agree with, but I can understand. So yeah, Little Godzilla, I really don't like the way he looks, even though I do like the way he, acts around humans and the way he, interacts with them, because Baby Godzilla, actually has some character growth, somewhat in this, well, not character growth, but over the course of the films between the last movie and this one, he's clearly grown to be more friendly towards humans, and I really like that about this little guy. I just wish he didn't look so stupid. Um, Now, let's talk about Godzilla. Basically, take the formula they used for Godzilla vs. Mothra the Battle for Earth and copy and paste it. Godzilla in this movie is, once again, literally used for no other reason than to progress the plot. Thankfully, the plot actually revolves around around Godzilla and Space Godzilla almost exclusively. So, thankfully, Godzilla does get somewhat more impactful screen time, even with the downgraded suit from the last movie. But honestly, why the hell do they do this? I hate it when people disrespect the King of the Monsters like that. Godzilla is not a cheap plot device, and I am so sick of people using him like that. It's only happened in 2 movies, and I'm already goddamn infuriated by it. However, with that out the way, let's talk about the highlight of the film. My favorite part of this film, and easily one of the coolest monsters to ever exist in the Godzilla franchise. Space Godzilla. A dumb name, I know, yes, but then again, we do also have monsters that have even, less inspired names, so we're gonna go ahead and not care about that. Space Godzilla is awesome, and I absolutely adore this man in the film. Not in the same way as I adore Godzilla, because Godzilla, at this point, I'm pretty sure, isn't like portrayed as a hero, but he's more portrayed as an anti-hero. Um, Whereas Space Godzilla is just a straight up cynical bastard and villain. Yeah, he straight up Space Godzilla only comes to Earth so he can kill Godzilla and kill baby Godzilla. Um, and the thing is that he literally, like, somewhat tortures Godzilla in this film. And he kidnaps little Godzilla and takes him away. And, he basically wants Godzilla to die before he kills the child. And he uses the child as leverage to lure Godzilla to him so that he can, kill the G-Man. If he was powerful enough to do so already, I don't understand why he wouldn't just do it when he confronted him on Birth Island, but we're not gonna ask questions in this movie. It's already lazy as fuck, so yeah, details. But I will say that Space Godzilla's character in this film, even though he doesn't get any character growth, which once again is irritating, but he makes for an amazing villain, and I hope to God we see more of Space Godzilla in the future films. I really do, because this man I really want to see him in another movie. He's easily my favorite Godzilla villain, and above all else, he is one of the best. He is one of the best villains to ever grace not even just the Godzilla film, but just filmmaking in general. And he can't even speak. Just enough said. Space Godzilla is awesome, and there ain't really nothing else to say about that. And actually, I was gonna go ahead and skip this, but seeing as how cool Space Godzilla is, I'm gonna go ahead and just list off his powers like I did with the 2 versions of Mechagodzilla we covered already, because he's just that damn cool. First of all, his atomic breath, which has a very poor taste in names in today's climate, though this movie was released in 1994, so you can't really blame him. The Corona Beam. The Corona Beam can fire out of Space Godzilla's mouth, like Godzilla's atomic breath, but Space Godzilla, using other abilities he has we'll discuss in a second, can force the beam to literally reshape and reform to basically curve around any obstacle or object and hit its target more directly. Space Godzilla can fly, because why the fuck not? Space Godzilla also has the ability to generate massive crystal structures around wherever the hell he establishes his base of operations, and each and every single one of these crystals can give him energy as long as they can channel all the way through to his shoulder spikes or crystals on his shoulders. And this can give Space Godzilla almost infinite energy as long as he remains close to those crystals and as long as they remain intact, as well as the crystals on his shoulders, but more on those in a second. And then there's Space Godzilla's most powerful, but at the same time most dangerous ability to use because of how vulnerable it makes him, his telekinesis. You see, Space Godzilla has a form of telekinesis similar to what Miki Sagusa can do, except far more advanced. The only issue with this is because Space Godzilla is not beyond a 5th level intellect, well, he can only use his telekinesis when he has full concentration, leaving him very open to attacks from behind and flanking maneuvers from other enemy kaiju. One last power, he can also have direct mind control over every single one of those crystals, and he can pick them up out of the ground and use them like missiles. Hot damn! However, he's not perfect, because he does have one very glaring weakness. And it's basically the only reason Godzilla and Mogira were able to win in this fight. You see, with how much Space Godzilla uses his shoulder crystals, well, those things are basically the most fragile point of Space Godzilla's body. And, as such, if they break, well, Space Godzilla is basically a sitting duck and he can't defend himself. And they just so happen to be the most fragile point on his body. So, yeah. Shit. But with all that being said, Space Godzilla is still an amazing kaiju, and like I said before, I really hope that someday he comes back into the Godzilla franchise. He would just fit so damn well, and he would be so fun to watch. Legendary, please, I'm begging of you. I don't ask for much. This is the one time I'm genuinely gonna ask you guys to do something from the bottom of my heart. Please put Space Godzilla, even if it's just a tiny little reference. Please just put Space Godzilla in the Monsterverse. Just once. Now, in terms of people I would recommend this film to, obviously, hardcore Godzilla fans would enjoy this film, even though Godzilla does spend the majority of the runtime getting his ass handed to him until the plot demands that he defeat Space Godzilla at the end. And yeah, if you're one of those people who doesn't like movies that just make random decisions on impulse, you're definitely not going to like this one, because half of the shit that happens in this movie feels like it's just pulled out of the director's ass at the last minute. It just doesn't feel right, and honestly, it sucks that's the case, because this movie had some real potential. Well, damn, now they really don't have an excuse, because they made $194 million at the box office. Jesus, okay. And they couldn't have used any of that money to hire better writers? Because honestly, this movie wouldn't even be bad if it wasn't for the fact that the plot and the writing just seems so goddamn bad. But, I mean, it's fine. Back to the people I would recommend this film to, obviously hardcore Godzilla fans, and clearly, since Space Godzilla is, Space Godzilla, somewhat sci-fi fans. But other than that, I really wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody because, straight up, unless you're a hardcore Godzilla fan and you just enjoy you don't enjoy just watching a movie just to see two men in rubber suits slap the fuck out of each other, you're not gonna like this movie. And actually, they don't even really, get into physical confrontations that much. Essentially, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla turns into a high-stakes game of laser tag. Because the majority of the fights in this film are straight up just laser battles where Godzilla and Space Godzilla shoot their respective beams at each other. But yeah, with that out the way, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla is covered. Now, join me tomorrow, hopefully with Noah, as we cover the final entry in the Heisei series, Godzilla vs. Destroyer! See you next time. Godzilla!
Alright, y'all know the drill. Like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Y'all want more videos, right? More kick-ass shit? Well, good, because I want more views. Let's help each other on this.